Marvin, first off, I'm just curious, how excited are you about the start of this football season, especially given everything that's been going on?
Yeah, no, it's a very exciting time. As a former player, you always get excited this time of year. I think any former football player tell you this is really the time we miss the most. All the tour days and the training you don't, but very, very exciting that college football for the Razorbacks. A couple of weeks will be kicked off. It was fun watching, the NFL team last night and some of the other colleges, but we're ready to see our Razorbacks play.
You know, could you imagine being in that position this time and having to deal with everything that's been happening, not having, all the practices and stuff that they typically have every year?
I can't imagine. I really can't. I mean, me and a couple of my teammates were talking about that. And the thing that makes it even more complicated is you've got a first-year coach, head coach, and coaching staff, and trying to figure all this stuff out on the fly is just I can't imagine being in those guys' situation. But I'm glad that they've stuck with it and all the protocols are being followed, and our kids are safe and practicing, and they're getting ready to kick this thing off. So we're excited.
Well, are there any memories from your time as a player that you look at and remember very fondly?
Yeah, well, that 1998 year with Coach Houston Nutt and his staff, kind of very similar to what Coach Pittman and his staff are in right now in the transition period. But that 98 year was a pretty memorable year for a lot of reasons. Just for a lot of reasons. That 98 year and the Tennessee game that year was obviously one you never forget because if you win that one, you got to feel pretty good. You're in good shape of going to play for the national championship. So, but just that 90 year, the closeness, the togetherness of our team, the way we came together, and we bought into what the new coaching staff was their ideology and how we were going to move forward as a team. That was really, really something special to watch how we transformed and all came together and bought in, became one team. So that whole 98 year was pretty special.
Yeah, I'm curious. You talk about the buy-in and stuff with your coaches. Have you heard anything about how the Razorbacks are responding right now to Sam Pittman?
No, I was fortunate to go to practice to the scrimmage last Friday and, watched it from afar. I actually watched it up on the deck up there outside of Hunter Yurchek's office. But the thing that as a football player, watching those guys move on and off the field, listening to the excitement of the defense when they made plays, you can see that this team is together. There's a level of effort and toughness that I hadn't seen in 2 or 3 years. There's a level of camaraderie that reminds me of the 98 team. And so I see a lot of similarities from this group than our group in 98. Now we had a lot more talent, I think, because there were 49 juniors and seniors on that 98 team. And I don't think Coach Pittman has the luxury of having that type of experience and the level of players. But I saw some plays being made out there. A lot of things to be encouraged about for sure.
Well,
which tells me there's a lot of buy-in. Guess where I was going? There's a lot of buy-in when you see them running on and off the field and coaches don't have to tell them to run on and off the field. I mean, that may seem like a real small thing, but that's a really, really big deal, and it speaks to the effort, and it really speaks to buying into what Coach Pittman is, his program and where we're going.
I know the fans are all really excited to see Sam Pittman's new team and stuff, but obviously not many of them are going to be able to be inside that stadium. How do you think that would impact the team out of there? They're on the field and, you don't have a full set of fans in the stands.
Yeah, there's no question it's going to be different. I mean, the fans are such an integral part of the game. That excitement on third downs for the defense, that excitement for touchdowns for offense, and the enthusiasm and calling the hogs. There's no question that's going to be missed. The good thing about it, it's going to be the same and equal at every stadium. So it's not like it's something that's just impacting the Razorbacks. Everywhere we go, when we go on the road, we'll see a similar type setup too. So in that regard, I think it'll be different, but it shouldn't be detrimental because all teams in the league are having to face the same problem.
You think it could help them in some respects when they go on the road?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I'm one that believes that the advantage is with the home team, with all the COVID and the protocol and testing. I think the advantage is probably with the home team a little bit. But, until you get into this thing and start figuring out all things that we haven't thought about. I'm sure that they thought about them, but with this virus and all the twists and turns, something new comes out with it seems like every day. It's going to be a wait and see approach, but it'll be different. But the thing about it is it's going to be different for everybody. Everybody's got to go through the same thing. And I guess that's the equal part of the virus, that from a competitive standpoint, that you shouldn't be at a disadvantage in that regard. So in some ways it may help you when you go to some of these bigger venues that you don't have a loud crowd. Now I know probably artificially they'll try to pipe in some noise,
Yeah.
maybe to try to create that atmosphere, but we're all on equal foot in that regard. So that's a positive.
Well, fans, a lot of them can't be at the game, but I know everyone still wants to support this team. What are some ways that they can do that?
Well, right now with Hunter and Scott Verity here at the Razorback Foundation, we've launched what's called the One Razorback Fun. And the thing that's so critical about it right now, you talk about a worldwide pandemic that nobody's seen before, and the financial impact that it's had on everybody. And we're not immune from that, right? And so the message is this, we want our fans to, and let me say before I say that, our fans have really been, man, they've been rock stars. To see the number of them that are not getting to go to the games, either because they chose to for their health and safety reasons, or the way the ticket deal shook out, they still kept their contributions for the most part with the Razorback Foundation. And the thing you hear from most of them is, we want the Razorbacks to be strong and viable when we come out of this virus. And that is so encouraging. Coach Brawls used to call it the passion of the Razorback fans. And man, have we seen it, tested, and they've come through like champions. So really want to thank all the donors and season ticket holders and those who support the Razorbacks. It's been phenomenal to watch people step up time and time again to make sure that our program is viable. These athletes are still going to class. They're still eating. They're getting hurt, and, medical treatment and all the things that we help fund here at the Razorback Foundation. So that's why this One Fun drive is so critical. We have to maintain that so that when we come out of it, our coaches still have the ability to go recruit some of the best talent in the country. We want to be able to be a relevant program post-COVID. And that's a major way that they can contribute to the Razorback Foundation and support the program. We've got 2 facilities that we're coming out of the ground right now. The Baseball Performance Center and the additions that we're making to track. Those are capital gifts, 100% tax deductible for those folks who may be fortunate enough to have some dispendable income that they want to do for the end of the year. We can use all those gifts, man, but just the support and the passion from the Razorback fans has been tremendous to watch. So.
Well, Marvin, just one last question for you.
Sure,
as a former
sure.
player and as a fan in general, what do you want to see from the Razorbacks this season?
I want to see an attitude of just want to compete. There's you can't put a price tag on a group of young men that want to go out and compete. I don't care necessarily about the results on the scoreboard, but when that ball rolls out and you're on offense or defense, get after it. And that's what I want to see, a tough team, a team that's clawing and scratching and fighting for every yard, for every point we can get, a defense that's flying to the ball and stripping it out and making plays. I just want to see Razorback brand football the way we knew it and played the game and the way the game should be played. So that's the thing I want to see the most.
And I'm right there with you, Marvin. Thank you so much for all of your time and your input. We really appreciate it.
Hey, Tara, thanks, you guys. You guys have a great year and stay safe, okay?
You too.
Go Hogs.